Hey YouTube, Zero Tech Skills here. Today I want to show you guys one of my newest acquisitions, the DOXA Sub 1200T Professional. This watch, as some of you know, I collect watches, and some of the watches that I would love to own someday are just way out of my price range. But I was lucky enough to find this little guy, and it was in my price range, and I'm more than ecstatic about it. And to be honest with you, years ago when I first saw this watch, I really hated it. I mean, I thought it was one ugly watch. I don't know what it was. The shape probably, and that was one of my biggest reasons. But then over the years, browsing the forums, the watch forums, people started posting pictures and reviews of this watch and similar watches, and I just fell in love with it. Again, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just the shape that I fell in love with, or the style, the sexiness of it, or maybe even the history. I think the history might have tied everything together for me, and I said I want to have one of those. And like I said, luckily it was in my price range, and I found one. This is the DOXA Sub 1200T Professional. Like I said, it is modeled after the Sub 300T Conquistador from 1969, and I believe the Conquistador was worn by Jacques Cousteau and his team when they used to do their dives, and so that's kind of cool history. Let me throw some specs at you guys. I don't have much time with this camera, but it has a depth rating of 1,200 meters. It's limited to 1,200 pieces, which is really cool, and for the price, it's amazing. It's got the inscription on the back of I think this is 252 out of 1,200, which is pretty cool. The size of the bezel the size of the watch is 42.7 millimeters. The dial is only 27 millimeters, so it might look small, but for a guy like me, 5'7", 180 pounds, with 7-inch wrists, I think it looks good. If you're 6'3" with 8.5-inch wrists, then this watch might look a little small. But for me, I think it looks great on me personally, and I couldn't be any happier. It's got the bead bracelet, which is really cool. It's got a helium release valve right here. 120 click unidirectional bezel. It's a Swiss movement, ETA 28242 with a 42-hour power reserve. It's got a domed crystal sapphire. I don't know if you can see it. It's 3 millimeters thick. And let me just compare it really quickly to some of my other watches. This is a tracer. It's 40 millimeters, but as you can see, the dial looks much bigger, and it is bigger actually on the tracer. So even though the DOXA is a bigger watch than the tracer looks larger because the dial is larger. But let me compare it to a little larger watch. It's a 44 millimeter Oris TT1. Now you can really tell the difference. This is a 44 millimeter, and this whole watch is 43 millimeters. But because the size of the dial is smaller, the watch looks almost dwarf-like next to this Oris. But let me show you what it looks like on my 7-inch wrist. I didn't get to size it yet, but this is what it looks like. I don't think it looks half bad. I actually like the way it looks. Doesn't look too big, doesn't look too small. I think it looks just right on my 7-inch wrist. Still got the blue little thing there. I didn't take it off yet, and I didn't get to size it yet. But like I said, I love this little watch. I'm glad I was able to pick it up. And it also comes with this cool little stainless steel air-like tube bottle from DOXA. These are hand assembled in Switzerland, and I'm really happy with it. Love the way it looks now, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Thank you guys for looking, and hope you enjoyed. See ya.